Rev up your passion with the AEO Boys, the ultimate Assetto Corsa community. Calling all automotive enthusiasts and racing aficionados, join the exhilarating world of the AEO Discord, your premium hub for everything Assetto Corsa. Connect with like-minded individuals who share your love for cars, tracks, and the thrill of the race. Participate in thrilling races, leagues, and challenges organized by our dedicated team. Discuss setups, mods, and tips to enhance your driving skills and performance. Enjoy a welcoming and supportive environment where everyone is passionate about racing. Benefit from the knowledge and experience of seasoned drivers and simulation enthusiasts. We're committed to evolving and growing our community to meet the needs of all racing fans. For more details and updates, visit aeoboys.com and join us today at discord.gg/AEOboys and unleash your passion for driving an Assetto Corsa. Whether you're a seasoned driver or just starting out, AEO Boys Discord welcomes you to join our dynamic community. Rev your engines and accelerate into the world of virtual driving.
DJ spill it, sweet beat, the realest team on the billis. Watch out, I kill it, watch out, I spit it on the mic, feel it. Y'all can't do what I do, just admit it. I'm about to get it, money, get it, drop it to the floor. Shake my big bitties, bobbing like did it. My face look pretty, y'all ain't doing shit new, I done did it. Cause I'm marvelous, fantabulous, a bad chick, the flow sick like oh shit. You know this, I'm too fit to ever quit. Knocking these fools out like pool sticks. I do this, I move this, I prove this. Bars be hard like a pound of bricks and go up, jumps the boogie to the bang bang high. It's the kind of beat that go rat-ta-ta. It's the kind of beat that go rat-ta-ta. Rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat that go rat-ta-ta. Rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat that go rat-ta-ta. Rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat that go rat-ta-ta. Rat-ta-ta. It's Missy E and DJ Skrillex. Yeah. This shit so hot you with it. Yeah.
Hey everyone, MB Drifts here. Join me on Patreon to elevate your drifting skills with 3 levels of drift school, personalized Assetto Corsa support, and flexible 30-minute anything goes sessions. Your support helps maintain our event servers, which we really need. Head over to patreon.com/MB_drifts and choose your tier. Let's hit the virtual track together.
In need of focus and energy? Try sliding sauce at swiftenergy.gg. Make sure to use coupon code DSKIDS at checkout and save yourself 25% off the entire store. Welcome to another episode of AYO with AEO. I'm your host, DSKIDS. Once again with this, we got MB Drifts, Yoda. We got a couple of guests, SimCave Media and Daniel Hartman.
Yo.
So, last week we had, to recap, we had Kevin on. It was a pretty great show.
No, that's a wall.
Very informative. If you guys happen to have missed it, the VODs are available on the Twitch. They are also available on Spotify in the podcast form. All you have to do is search up AO with AEO. So, let's get to know our guests a little bit.
Yeah, first off, we're gonna go ahead and start out with SimCave Media over here. Mr. SimCave, aka Mr. Frank, how about you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what do you get into? What are you about?
I mean, little backstory. I've been involved in sim drifting now for probably about 8 years. IRL been involved in drifting since 2011, so 13 years now. After the first couple of years of being involved with drifting, I found sim drifting. I wasn't driving yet, but I stumbled upon sim drifting, so figured it was what I wanted to do. So I dove into building a sim setup right away, and kind of went down the rabbit hole from there.
What all have you had for sim setup?
This is my 4th setup. So my very first setup was a complete like home built wood rig. I think I had a Thrustmaster TMX with the basic TH8A shifter, and some T3 PA pedals. and that got me good for a while. I played a lot of Forza on that one, and then we moved on to a triple monitor setup with Logitech. So we really didn't upgrade wheels much. Just had a lot nicer setup. Um, and I actually sold that one, and then bought a Miata and flipped a Miata, and then I bought a Thrustmaster setup, another Thrustmaster, but a T300 on a TR8 Pro rig with T3PA Pro pedals and another TH8A. And I rocked that for a long minute. I kept that rig until I upgraded to the current Moza setup. And then we had a little bit of flex and instability there, so we went ahead and upgraded to the SimLab GT1 Evo. We're on the Moza R9 base now with the Moza handbrake and then a custom shifter from the Awesome Shop.
Heck yeah. Good shit. So what all do you have for experience in IRL?
My IRL experience is a little interesting. So after about 500 hours on the sim, I got a beater Miata, just a bone stock Miata with some cut knuckles, some fly Miata sway bars, some cheap Raceland coils, which is why I went with the beefier sway bars because we had a lot of body roll. And then I think that was pretty much it. It was a stock 1.8 with a 410 rear gear and a 5-speed. And that was the first time I went around a track, was in that car, Police Academy. Took me about a half a day to get the track down, but the transition was pretty easy. The biggest thing that I had to overcome was probably just the speed factor of throwing a car sideways at over, 45, 50 miles an hour.
Wait, they didn't have an IAS day or anything when you were starting?
No. So then IAS wasn't really a thing yet.
Okay.
So those events were private events that were hosted by Kevin and another friend of ours. Man, it's been a minute. Ray. His name was Reynaldo.
Okay.
He was a part of our old group Status Works that Kevin had mentioned on the previous podcast.
Yeah.
Yep, and so that was kind of our old group, and we would put on events called Texas Drift Fest. And from those events, we were able to just host private days at Police Academy as well. So that was actually a private day with, I think, me, Kevin, my brother, and probably 6 or 7 other people. So it was a very, very small track day. I got a lot of seat time because of it, because the track was pretty much open all day long. And then I sold that car and just went heavy into sim. And since then, I've been blessed with some really awesome friends that let me drive their stuff. So I haven't had a drift car IRL in a long time, but I've gotten to drive a variety of S chassis and Zs and BMWs and all kinds of different stuff.
So going off of that idea, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yep.
No, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question real quick. So off of all those cars you experienced and the 500 hours of sim time, do you think that the sim time helped?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Okay.
So the first day getting in the car with the Miata, literally my first time out on track, I didn't spin out. I didn't go off track. I didn't do anything. It felt to me, the moment I threw the car sideways, it felt like I was sitting in my simulator at home. 100%.
So let's go ahead and get into it here. We know, well, I know, just for the simple fact that we're on the same team, that you do a lot for competition, such for ESPA and things like that, as far as getting into the global side of things. Now, would you like to care to go into what that's like, and what all you've been getting into, and what all the teams are getting?
So this last year, we kind of dove into CSG pretty heavy, which was I didn't know at the time, but was a feeder comp into ESDA. And so once we found that out, we really started pushing. A lot of the guys were trying their best to get up in the North American leaderboards. I think me and one other driver were lucky enough to qualify to go into ESDA Worlds, which ESDA has just changed their format a lot. So as opposed to just getting into ESDA and competing for an entire season, now you compete in a feeder series and you earn points towards a regional championship. And then there's 4 regional championships. So North America, South America, Asia, and Europe. And once those 4 championships are completed, they'll take it's a top 32 shootout for each region. And they're going to take the top 8 from each region. And those 32 will move on to the ESDA World Championship, which will be a global event. So they've been changing a lot of things in the background over the last year or two, but it's going to be pretty interesting moving forward. They partnered with DreamHack recently, and did a big live stream broadcast, like top 8, I think it was, shootout, to kind of demo sim drifting somewhere in the public eye. So a lot of big things happening on that side.
And you got
And
to be a
then
part of that, didn't you?
correct, I was invited to compete in DreamHack, so I'm very thankful for that. Shout out to Di and all those guys. And then really now the eyes are set on VDC. That's something I've wanted to get into for a long time. I think a lot of people kind of know the name VDC. It's really hard to get into VDC. One of the few ways would be DCGP Drift Corner Championship, SVDS, which I think that's one of somewhere over in Europe. I can't remember exactly which series it is. Don't quote me on that.
It's Scottish.
And CNDS, Scottish. Okay.
Yeah.
And then CNDS does a top 64 driver search now, where you can earn a CNDS license. And once you earn the CNDS license, you can work towards being a top competitor in their championship and move on towards VDC. So it's one of the few ways that you can obtain a VDC license and get to go compete with what I would say is some of the top dogs in the world of sim drifting.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Nice.
So how exactly do you plan on moving forward?
My biggest thing that I've always really stuck by is just seat time. I mean, I think that's kind of a given with driving and drifting, or really any form of motorsports, is just getting behind the wheel and practice, 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 practice. The more you drive, the more you'll learn, the better you're going to get. I just feel like, in my opinion, you have to try to do positive things with that time, you know? So if you maybe had a long day and your mind just isn't really there, and you're just kind of mindlessly, you know, driving through the night to get your seat time, you're probably not taking much back from it. So you really got to find a way to hone in and focus, and you know, try to get feedback on the car and everything else, and maybe get some wheel cam footage of yourself to kind of see what mistakes you're making, and just constantly trying to make those moves to be better.
What all have you been doing to kind of like get the name out there and try to get things
I'm just really trying to compete in everything that I can find that's out there, that has a good, you know, viewership behind it, to try to put my name out there and put the team name out there, which is NLFT. That, you know, myself, you, and we got a few other members on there as well. We'll be looking to recruit some more here pretty soon as well. I think it's really just, yeah, staying focused on the series that have the viewership, to bring attention to the name outside of just posting on social media.
All right. Well, I'm glad that things going well on that front. Looking forward to seeing how things progress. That's for sure. So Mr. Daniel, moving on to you. How would
What's
you
up?
just
Oh,
oh
oh,
okay.
we had a mix up with the camera somehow.
Good deal. What all are you getting into? What are you running these days?
So getting into starting to get everything really rolling. Working on getting a car together that is super competitive, and that's the goal and
Oh,
the
strange.
direction that we plan on going. Which is, it seems to be moving really fast. I only got into drifting November of last year, I believe, is what it was.
Oh, so the
It's whenever.
progression's been incredible.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I would have to give about 95% of that progression rate comes from sim seat time, hands down.
Yeah, that seems to be a pretty common factor.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things that it grows the confidence level drastically. And like Brandon was saying, the only real thing that you had to overcome was feeling the speed of a car and just hucking it into a corner. Um, and just having the seat time in the sim, it really helped a lot.
Now,
And
did you
so we
start doing sim stuff before you started doing stuff IRL, or?
it was really close together. So I took a ride along. What was that? November of last year, and for Christmas, I ended up getting my BMW that a lot of people have seen. It's the red E90 with the bronze wheels, and I was probably
as well as got spun out in.
yeah. We've done definitely a lot of stuff with that car. It's going to be missed greatly. It still stays local though. It was a part of the flood. It was actually in the garage. So it's still going to stay local. It's going to be it should be a pretty wild party car by the time it's done.
Yep.
But I don't know. I probably went to maybe one or two events driving that car, and then I decided I needed to get a simulator because practice was just way too expensive. And so what did I get? I ordered a G920 on Amazon.
Yeah, and then damn near immediately swapped.
Yeah, so I ended up with the G920 on Amazon and like the foldable lawn chair looking rigs. And it was at a point to where I was started driving a lot with Kevin's not here right now, but with Kevin and Brandon and a couple of other guys, and it was at a point to where the sim equipment didn't match the skill level, where it was actually hindering me a lot from progression in sim driving. And so we just bit the bullet one day and showed up at Micro Center and got everything off the shelf.
So how is
And
having people around you that you can drive with on the sim and practice with on the sim, as well as being able to drive with those people IRL? Like, how does that transfer over, and how does that compare to?
So this is a really good question to have Kevin here for, because he's probably the one that I drive with the most, both on sim and in real life.
Yeah.
And it's something that translates really, really well. I haven't got to drive with him in my new car yet. But in the BMW, being, he drives a C7. And so with the BMW versus the C7, the power differential is insane. And to still be able to drive, and we actually ended up in a collision pretty quickly whenever we were driving. So yes, an E90 has definitely eaten the door of a C7, and it was pretty wild. But driving on the sim actually, once we get it all put together in real life, allowed me to be really, really close, and a lot more comfortable in the chase position than just hanging out.
Now, you're on a team with Kevin, correct? Go ahead and give us a little info on that.
Absolutely. So as of, man, what day was that? Was it 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? I don't know what it was.
No, right before the last run.
Yeah, it's like right before I picked up the S14. We had quite a few plans. We come, pretty close to the same background, and we have a lot of the same drive, and goals in mind. And we decided that it would be really cool to put an actual team together and start, doing bigger events, right? So we've kept things pretty localized. Kevin's been around for a long time. He's been to a lot of the big events, and it was something that if either one of us wanted to progress further, it was something we were going to have to do, right? So you see a lot of your professional drivers out there, they're not just single, guy with a truck and trailer, pulling a car to an event and progressing the way that they need to perform
Right.
at a certain level. And so putting this team together and working on building sponsors and having multiple cars and all of these things out there, not only does it look professional, it actually drives you, it pushes you to drive a certain way to maintain the level that you're trying to present as an image. And it just kind of happened. And then whenever I lost everything and I ended up with the S14, we just decided to wrap it just like the Not a Pro C6, which is also similar to his C7. And eventually it'll break off and the color scheme will be different.
Which the Not a Pro C6 has turned pretty fucking pro.
Yeah. Well,
Hey.
he was telling us last week about the power levels. And with the plans.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, man, it's insane. Oh my god. I tried to drive it up and down the driveway, and it was just crazy. Like you put it in a first gear on dry concrete, and just idle alone will break the tires loose. It is
Wait a
absolutely
second. Whoa.
insane.
Has he already put the kit on?
Yes.
In this last week.
Yep.
It's Kevin.
Like as in.
It's Kevin. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Kevin.
And
Well,
so
I think there's no other way.
But I didn't. He
And
didn't
so
say how soon. He didn't say, "Hey, in the next couple of days, I'm gonna be finishing this project that I was."
Well, why would he? He just randomly got a hair up his ass one day, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and then he just did it.
He's like, "Hey, Danny, come
That's
over
right.
here, help me." This on the lift.
Pretty much.
Hey,
And
Daniel, it's going
so we
down.
He's like, you put the forks down, do the rest.
Right.
pretty much.
So,
Damn.
just as a
I
quick
mean,
reminder, really fast, to those of you that are watching, we do watch the chat. Feel free to get involved if you have any questions for the guests or ourselves. Type them down in the chat, and if we get it, we see it, we'll try to answer it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, speaking of Kevin, and everybody knows that when Kevin wants to do something, Kevin does something. I can't speak too much about it, but we do have this pretty wild plan that we are scheming. And
he's mentioned a little bit of something about it.
Yes,
There's something.
And the goal, right? So it falls back to I haven't been here very long. And so everything that I try to do in my life, I try to be innovative. I try to be the best at it. And I try not to let anything stop me. And so the plans that we have working are ways that we can try to innovate drifting as a whole with, when you look at drifting, you see a total of 4, maybe 5 chassis, 3 to 4 motor selections, and that's about it across the board. So being able to innovate something, and not only at a level that is really fun, but we're also trying to keep in mind of somebody that wants to build a different chassis that is budget friendly at the same time. So we've definitely.
I was gonna say, on that note, how do you feel that the overall communities are coming together on that aspect, both IRL and
So on sim, I can't speak too crazy much on sim. I a lot of my seat time was with my boys, and so I don't get to really venture out too much. We work a ton, and so a lot of the times, a lot of these comps that everybody's doing, they happen at very odd times that I just can't make it. But in real life, I mean, it's just the year that I've been here, I've watched the growth in the sport as a whole, to where whenever I first started, like you might get an event every month, maybe every couple months, it's at a point now to where there's an event going on somewhere within a 2 to 3 hour drive every single weekend.
Yeah.
And trying to make a lot of those events is really hard, and that's going to be a goal that we're going to be pushing towards coming in the next year or so as we start getting comfortable competing as well.
how do
Let's
you
keep in
feel?
mind. Hold on 1 second, Yoda. Let's keep in mind this is Texas, right? So
Yes.
in the summer and late spring and early fall, it is absolutely hot as shit. So
Yes.
we have to pick and choose which ones we go to because we don't want to destroy our tires. We don't want to pass out from heat exhaustion. We got
Yeah.
to be careful about that. And I don't
Oh,
think you've spent the money yet
absolutely.
for a cool suit, have you?
I don't know if my wife can hear me through the door.
Nothing more.
I'll plead the fifth on that one for now.
Dead right now, but
I mean, if you ever do
Dead.
share the podcast with her, we'll just have to
Yeah.
tell her to
We'll
skip
have to
this
mute
episode.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's just skip this episode you're in. Yeah.
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 Aaron
yeah,
Van said,
just,
"Smart man."
eh.
So how do
But-
you guys between you, Mr. Simcave, and Mr. MB, how do you guys feel about the overall community and camaraderie of the sport is going?
Oh my God. Okay, so to be fair, when I got into the sport, I didn't have no idea that it was going to be this friendly. The entire community, so far, with the exception of a couple bad apples, has been amazing. The IRL community, when I got there, just arrived first time on site, didn't know a damn soul. Kevin Courtwright, y'all know him. He threw me a
Watch it
helmet and said,
drifts.
"Jump in." Like not even 5 minutes into meeting me.
Yep. I remember I was on the Discord call with you when you were meeting these guys.
Yeah. The whole community over there it's amazing. I don't know if it's like that worldwide, but at least down here, it's amazing.
Right.
100% agree.
Brandon, how was your experience with it?
I mean, I think MB kind of hit the nail on the head. Like it's the drift community is a really open, welcoming community. Now, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, like I first got into the Lone Star Drift events in Texas back in 2011. So back then, events were maybe we were lucky to have 20 cars. And so it wasn't as friendly. It was kind of a little bit more like the drag racing scene, I guess. It was kind of a little more, not really secret hush hush about like setups and stuff, but everybody was kind of in their own little sites. There wasn't a whole lot of mingling, hanging out. Everybody showed up, did their driving, went home. But over the years, as things have evolved and the community has grown so much, it has become a lot more welcoming. Like you can pretty much just go chat in anybody's trailer. You can walk by somebody's trailer and go get a bottle of water out of their cooler. Like it's that chill. Outside of, like MB said, a few bad apples in there. But if somebody sees you hurt and they're gonna come over and help, like it's a very very heartwarming community.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
how has the sim community helped you out in your IRL?
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh, that's a really
Oh.
good one.
If it wasn't for y'all, you wouldn't have met me.
Yeah,
Touche.
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I've just met a lot of really cool people, honestly.
Brandon, you
from
probably
all
would have,
over.
but Daniel, I mean, unless
I
it was for
definitely wouldn't
Brandon,
have.
Yeah, because I met you at that first time I went to HPA, right? And
Yep.
then
Oh,
from
that's
there,
right. Y'all met at the Denofa
at the
event.
Denofa
Yep,
event,
it was the Denofa event.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's yeah. I didn't make it to that one.
Or no, I met
You met me
I
at the
met
Denofa
I met
event.
MB at the Naoki event.
Well,
we
that
were
was-
both-
I was there before
because,
that. I
I
met,
was on video.
That's
a couple
right.
people at the Denofa event.
Yeah, you were at the Denofa event, but I didn't know. And then we started talking on Discord after and found out. And we were like, how the heck did we not meet each other? We were both at the same place.
Right.
Oh, that's right. And then y'all came over because me and Kevin were parked up,
Well-
and we had just finished a bunch of adjustments on the car.
Yep.
Aaron
Yeah.
watching
I mean,
saying he
to
got
be
to meet
fair-
y'all at the Naoki as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, Aaron
Nice.
wasn't back there. That he was.
He was hanging out with me. That's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's that Aaron. Oh, what's up, dude?
So
yeah.
overall, how would you guys say that the overall between IRL and Sim, how much does that help you progress overall? Like,
Your
I'll
relationship.
stand on it. I will definitely stand on the sim translating to real life, like a whole lot. without it, I don't think I would be at the level that I am at, especially in such a short time. I mean, any track that you think that you're gonna make an event at, you download it and you practice it, and it's almost identical, like 95% of the time. Yeah.
And with
Again,
all the new
I can't
tracks
reiterate.
coming out,
I don't think I'd be.
It's like there's really no getting around that people have LiDAR and want to use it. People can get laser scans so fucking easy these days.
Yep.
Or use Google Maps, and boom, you've got a whole ass scan of a site. It's so easy.
Yep.
D-Skid, you know about that. You were in the map making scene for a while, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I mean LiDAR is just to having that capability now, and it being such a widespread thing now, because it's like, so many people are getting into it, right? Drones holding on with LiDAR. To get accurate representations of locations and whatnot is just amazing. I mean, look at what it's done for the iRacing community, let alone.
Oh, absolutely.
Constantly getting tracks updated, every marble's in place, every rock's in every stone. It's an amazing thing, and it's brought a whole new aspect of realism along with the updated physics and everything like that. Like, to correlate with that data, I mean, it's brought sim racing to a whole new level.
Now,
So it's interesting you brought up. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, I know recently Assetto Corsa Competizione, they released the Nord LiDAR, and then now we've got all these Evo tracks that are gonna be coming out as probably LiDAR. I would imagine 900% of them are gonna be LiDAR.
I would imagine.
Because they've got the technology.
Just with the database that's out there and whatnot, these LiDAR scans, right? Can't imagine them not spending the money, to get that data and use it. So I would imagine so.
Yeah. That's the way of the
I'm glad you brought up iRacing, because on that note, kind of back to the question on where I stand with sim and the translation to IRL. I've spent a lot of time on iRacing outside of just Assetto Corsa, and the majority of my time spent on iRacing was on the dirt oval. They have some pretty great scans and physics on their dirt cars. One of the few games out there where you can actually experience that on the wheel. And I competed probably for about 2 years. I did the Knoxville Nationals race, and made it to the big iRacing broadcast, and I tried out for the 410 Outlaw series and everything. And I really learned a lot about dirt driving through iRacing, just because it interested me. I wanted to learn more on it, and through that, I got an opportunity to drive a friend of ours' dirt car for the first time, IRL. And Brian's, not Stacy's. Yeah, because Brian had just bought one, and he was going to cut it up and do a bunch of changes to it. So he's like, "Look, before I chop this thing up, let me put you in it," because he's a little bit of a bigger guy. He couldn't fit in the car. I mean, the dwarf cars are, they're tiny. And so, anyways, he let me go out and drive it, and made it to the A main. I mean, I didn't go out there and win first place or nothing, but I made it around the track. I didn't spin out. I didn't tear the car up. And I think we moved up probably 5 or 6 spots from where I had started. After having some radiator issues and other things, where we ended up having to, I think we missed the heat race because the fan stopped working. And so I was pulling up to the chute as the cars were already, like, the last car was pulling on track, and the guy stopped me, and he was like, "Nope, you're too late, sorry." And then we were just kind of praying at that moment. Thankfully, there was just enough car entries to where, like, it was an automatic transfer to the A main. So I was able to just tag onto the back of the field, get some new fans on the car, made it out there. But yeah, it translated 100%. And that was really an eye opener for me. And of course, I immediately went and bought a car after.
So with the dirt, sorry, man, I'm ADHD as fuck, and if I don't get it off my mind, I'm,
Nope, did we lose him, B?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Go for it.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot what it was.
Oh.
That's,
Oh my goodness.
I told you I would forget it.
Speaking of which,
I was like, I was waiting for it. He was like, I'm gonna get it off my mind. I'm like, all right, let's hear it.
boys, I'm gonna have to
I'm
step away
sorry,
for a
my
second.
bad.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, do your thing, okay.
Yeah.
that is a prime example of the ADHD in just full effect. His mind probably, he's like, I got this question, I want to get off, and then it was all of a sudden, well, the question was, what was the question? And then
Yeah, that's the
it was,
question.
well, I have this other question, but that's not what it was. Hold on, what was that question? So,
It's a
Yes,
great
the
question.
dirt translates 100%. It is another beast in its own, but it is very similar to drifting in many ways.
yeah, the dirt racing, dirt oval.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of sliding around just with a little bit less angle.
Yeah, you're just holding
Except-
a fine line in between completely losing your shit and nice race line.
Yeah, the only difference with dirt is you're trying to keep the car from getting too sideways, whereas drifting you're trying to throw all the angle you can at it.
All of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All of it.
That seems to be my problem sometimes, especially in real life and sim. Is I don't feel like I'm drifting unless I'm at lock.
Yeah.
And so it's
Which that requires a a heavy right foot, which means lots of tires go bye-bye.
lots of toe too. Lots of toe in.
Yes, and lots of toe. Oh, jeez.
What's the
So-
difference between like iRacing, the dirt racing you're doing on there versus the setup?
So
What have you done?
I mean, I guess I've never really tried anything on dirt on a Seto, so I can't really speak for much there. I don't know if there is anything. I do know R Factor 2 for a while before iRacing really picked up their dirt side of things. R Factor 2 was a lot of the sim guys go to for dirt midget racing and stuff like that on sim. Modifieds, sprint cars, things of that nature. But once iRacing came out with their dirt sanction, I think they've really just kind of cornered the market, and that's the main go-to for anybody that I know that does dirt racing that's looking to get some seat time on sim.
Yeah, and so I've done dirt racing as well on iRacing, and I have done a little bit of dirt driving and whatnot on Assetto. And for me, the biggest difference is just that the physics in the dirt on Assetto just isn't quite there, right? And I think that primarily has to do with the base game, right? It just wasn't really meant to be there. It wasn't a true surface, right? So as far as like dirt and making maps and right, you have these different surfaces, and different surfaces have right reaction to tires and different tires.
Yep.
Right. So if it's raining, it's a different surface as to opposed to dry asphalt, or the side of the curve is a different surface as to opposed to grass, right? And all the dirt was really ever meant for a little bit of slidey, icy, surface, right? That because you went off of track, right? It really wasn't the main focus of your driving. So I just don't think that the physics were ever just really there. And then even with modding, I just don't think that it's been that big of a push in the Assetto community because of the fact that iRacing is already kind of had it. And like I said, it's just not the main focus of what Assetto really was. Assetto was GT style racing with some street car, had a little mix of drift in there because you had the drift Kuno's map, DLCs and shit.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point, 100%. And I mean, with the latest update on iRacing as well, you've got with all of their new weather implementations, you've got, I mean, the physics system there breaks down to a point with dirt to where you can have different humidities and temperatures in your session, which will change every session you join. And that is dependent on how the track is going to wear through the race, because the more laps you put in on a dirt track on iRacing, it does slick off. The dirt wears down to the concrete, and you will get those glossy slick spots that you have to try to avoid to find a good
Ooh.
racing line.
So like Assetto has it to where like right we have ambient temperature and surface temperatures, right? But the amount that they actually act on the cars and whatnot in Assetto too is just not quite as much as they're like how it is in iRacing. But that just goes because iRacing is a subscription-based simulation, right? And they use that money to put into research for the tire physics, the different ways the tires act, the different surfaces, everything that you see what they're doing is because that's where that money's going, goes towards all the constant user scans and tracks, keeping everything updated. Like
100%, 100%.
I understand where people get turned away from iRacing because of the cost. But for me, it's totally worth it for the experience I get from it, the feedback I get from it, the data analysis that I can pull from it. Like, it's just totally worth it.
Yeah, because you can actually sync Motec with iRacing and pull live telemetry directly into Motec and break down every little thing that your car is doing on the track.
What? I had no idea about that. That's pretty cool.
Yes, there is a third-party file that translates iRacing's telemetry to where Motec can read it, and you can break down every bit of the car to really fine-tune your setup. And that's how some of these guys are world champions. That's how they're being so competitive, is that they're using all of these tools to compete at that top level.
Yeah, and you find it now, especially like in F1. There are tons of F1 drivers out there, right, that are finding themselves in the seat of a sim cockpit and utilizing it to train, in off-season, just to stay on top of their game, and they're utilizing that data that they're getting, that type of feedback to actually push and tune like some of their real-life setups. So
Yeah, not only F1, but FD as well.
I was gonna say, I'll touch note on it real quick. I know a lot of people hate on Verstappen and Red Bull, and I'm not a big Verstappen like fanboy myself, but I will say when you look at that dude's driving talent and you realize that 90% of his time outside of his F1 race car is spent on a simulator racing with Team Redline, it kind of starts to make
F1
sense.
sim.
Yep, it kind of starts to make sense where his talent comes from.
Yes.
The dude is driving non-stop. If he's not racing in real life, he's driving on a sim. He's just constant seat time 24/7. I mean, he lives in a car.
Oh shit.
And that's,
so that kind of reminds me of the 14-year-old Formula Drift driver.
Manoa,
yep.
yeah.
Manoa, yeah.
That kid's a monster. And it's the same thing.
Where do you think that experience came from?
Straight from the dang sim.
Well, both of his parents actually drive in Japan.
Yeah.
To Aaron.
And then
they couldn't have thrown him in a drift car at 3 years old, though. Really? I mean.
To Aaron in the chat, yes, he did get yelled at for driving on the sim at 4 a.m. the morning of the Saudi Grand Prix. He was running one of the 24-hour events, and he did a 2-hour stint at 4 o'clock in the morning before the Grand Prix.
That's amazing.
The fuck, bro?
That's legendary.
And then went out and won the Grand Prix.
Do some shit on the sim
and then goes and gets in a real F1 car and goes and wins the freaking Grand Prix. Like, come on.
Man had practice
no laws
before he got
against
practice.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, of Manoa, I mean, what did you kind of want to touch base on that? Did you not, MB? I mean, what did you?
Oh yeah. I had a page that I had found on him. Basically his Wikipedia, but that kid has won so many damn championships already,
Mm-hmm.
and
Here.
like
And you-
throughout Japan and like worldwide. But
Have you seen that his mother and father both compete in FD
Yep.
Japan as well?
yep, that's it's like
It's a whole family affair.
it's a whole thing. It's a whole.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
So
For
he started his venture into competitive drifting at 11.
In a
Wow.
competitive-
He's been doing it competitively for 3 years already.
Wow, already driving an FD.
That's crazy.
All over the world.
Well, okay,
Not even
so
just
to be
FD.
fair, him having the right connections with his parents didn't hurt.
100%, 100%. But I mean,
Didn't hurt. I'd say it helped tremendously.
he clearly has the talent to go with it.
Yeah.
So
He does.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
also,
I agree, Aaron.
you could drive with him too. I think you have just as much talent as he does, Brandon. I mean, you're in professional ESDA right now on sim. I think you get behind the wheel of a pro car and you can drift it just as well as he could. Stay in the zones and probably max zones out.
we'll see how the season goes.
I just think you need an opportunity.
Let's make it happen.
Hey, look, if T-Pain can do it, you can
Let's
too.
make it happen.
Exactly.
Hey, that's you know what? You're right. I totally
Let's
forgot
get it
about
straight
that.
here.
Oh, God.
It's on
just
time.
about to
No,
say
not
it.
hating on T-Pain. He did put the seat time in.
Oh,
Oh, he did. He did. 100%.
no, absolutely.
For sure.
But the
He has
point is
improved
that
so
if he
much.
can
Nap-
do it, y'all can do it. Like, fuck.
That man is
That
on
is
Oh, absolutely.
Every
Nappy,
day.
Nappy Boy's all over it.
He's on side quest missions through the rest of
Oh,
his life.
that
He's already
man's
made
whole
his
life
main
is a
storyline.
side quest
at this
mission.
point.
He's like, nah, we'll save the storyline for later. We're going to become a fucking music star.
The whole
we're gonna
storyline
become a
is a
drift
side
star.
quest mission.
We're gonna become a gaming
That is
star.
Yeah.
the story.
He's got his Twitch and all that shit.
It's wild.
Aaron
He does
says
all that
T-Pain
shit.
must have ADHD.
Mm-mm.
Oh, 100%.
He ain't got a
He's got
special
the
type of
ADHD.
ADHD. He got that ADHD with that typetism that actually pays off.
Like, I literally believe that, you know what, instead of giving, like, people with ADHD medication, just give them a fucking $10,000 loan in a business class and watch what happens.
Yeah, for real.
Ooh.
That's the plan.
Occupy them.
Legit,
Oh
give
my
them a $10,000 loan and a fucking business plan, like a fucking business degree, let them go study for a bit, and then give them 10 grand and be like, alright, here you go.
That would be great.
They're either gonna do drugs
Yeah.
and
You're
watch
a zero
the
hobbyist, I agree. Maybe I should go get you.
Mm-mm. That's it's kind.
Go ahead.
No, ADHD sucks.
Seems to be a common thing.
Oh man, that's kind of what happened. Right. So I never really did good in school. I couldn't sit still, and I liked money a lot, and so I actually ended up finding a trade that interested me, and then one day it just clicked, and so I dropped out of school. I just everything that I was doing just went to the wayside, and I started doing air conditioning. And it's one of those things, especially actually having ADHD, and whenever we stopped taking the medication for all that, and everything got put together, and it all made sense, right? And so it just grew, and so if you just put your mind to that, you can literally do anything. And it makes you hyper focus like crazy. And so being able to hyper focus is what allows you to do anything that you want to do.
Oh, facts. If it wasn't for me having that, I don't know, you want to say mindset, condition, whatever you want to call it, right? If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know how to 3D model and make maps. You know, I've dabbled throughout my life, like I've made music. video production, like all of this stuff I learned on my own and taught myself how to do it because of this. Like I just being hyper fixated on something, and I'm just like, I gotta know how to do it. I gotta know how it works. And it's just led me to know a lot. Like I'm not the smartest man, right? But I do know a lot, or I know a little about a lot. I don't know a lot about a lot, but I know a little about a lot for sure.
Oh,
I feel that.
absolutely.
That's kind of me with driving. I got extremely hyper fixated on just wanting to learn everything about suspension, so that way I could figure out the way cars were reacting, so I could improve my driving overall. And it's just been an obsession for years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it keeps me focused on something, keeps me occupied.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I
Yes,
think
it does.
so what really drove me to like sim driving and whatnot, right, is growing up like wrenching on small engines and then going eventually, obviously to start wrenching on like cars and having like that need for speed and stuff. Like I've grown up, like obviously I've had bits of street racing incidents. I've had, gotten into off-roading and all different types of aspects of like driving, right? That it just made sense for me to like go and pick up a sim, because if not having the sim at home, right, like for me, I would just go out and like do dumb shit in the car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
Mm-hmm.
it just allows me to take that sense of like where I want to go fast and I want to go fucking, get sideways or this or that. And if I don't have that ability to do so in real life, right, like legally or to do it the smart way, I can jump in the sim and go get that burn, get that burn out of my system. And so it just makes sense for me to just own one, have it, utilize it.
100%.
I wish I.
I mean, as you
Every time I hop in my car, I just can't help but
yeah, I think for me,
Always. If you ain't first, you're last.
I think I got that out of my system after wrecking a couple of like pro GTs.
Mm.
man, I just like to get sideways.
I used to go play around when I had the Miata. I used to go play around at some of the we'll just say in Mexico.
In
Used to go down
Mexico.
and party in Mexico a little bit. But once the takeover started to get big, and there was one night we were out at a spot, and out of nowhere, we heard a scat pack and something else street racing, and we saw them flying down this side street, and then like 40 cars come rolling in, and about
Mm.
5 to 10 minutes later, there was 20 plus cop cars rolling behind them. And at that point, they thought that we were a part of this takeover group. So it started to just create this bad stigma, with anybody that had like a lowered car or anything of that nature. And that's about the time that I was like, yeah, I need to get off of the streets and put more time in the sim. And so I stopped going out. It's just too dangerous to me these days to go and party in the streets with drifting or anything like that.
Oh, exactly. And I feel the same way. Like the first thing that I wanted to do was take that, take the new car out on the street and just let it rip. And then I got to remind myself that, hey, man, this isn't the time for that. With all the takeovers and just people genuinely don't care anymore. And so making the decision to keep everything at the track is probably the smartest thing that I could have done. Especially on top of having children and all of this. I got people I got to come home to. And so especially back in the day, hopping in the car and doing things on the street, you never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming out, be out cruising, hitting turns at high speed, and then fucking. There's been a few incidents in my life, I'll go out and doing that, and you come around like a turn that you can't quite see all the way around, but you're like, it's alright, I don't see headlights or something, and then fucking last second, be like, oh, there was traffic coming, and like have to fucking jut it over, and
yep.
have that moment, be like, oh shit, like that was close. That was close. Like I just don't care to have those moments anymore like that. Like
And we actually even had like a little deal with our little group that used to go out with a local Amazon warehouse. And so they would let us use the back section where the trucks would dock. And as long as, we didn't, the thing was we never left trash out there. We never tore the place up or anything. We never, destroyed their property other than sliding around on an open skid pad pretty much, which they use for loading truck docks. So they were fine with us being there as long as we respected the facility and we cleaned up after ourselves. And they would let us go there every weekend. The security guard would do his rounds while we were sliding. He'd let us stay there till like 2 a.m. No problems. But the moment the takeover started coming around is when they pretty much just told us, look, we can't, to the police and to, the public eye, like there's no difference between you two guys. It's just a bunch of people in fast cars doing dumb stuff. So we lost our access to the facilities.
Yep. And that's how it becomes. You could have
Yeah.
something really good and then have it just be stripped away.
Ruined by a
because
takeover.
Yeah, it would just from, someone's ignorant decisions or just, being fucking too rowdy and for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. I agree with like how things, I feel like the generations are going. It's just like the disrespect and just not giving a shit about like people, other people's shit. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's going on.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
let's hold our thoughts here.
Yep.
Oh,
We're gonna
absolutely.
actually take a ad break. We are an hour in, so that gives all of us a break to go to the bathroom, get something to drink and whatnot. Those of you that are watching, we will leave you with a couple of ads to check out, a little something to listen to, something to watch for the moments while we go ahead and take ourselves a little break. So, with that being said, I will leave you guys with our ad for the car pack that is available at voson.com.
This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta. DJ Spillis, we beat the realest team on the realest. Watch out, I kill it, watch out, I spit it on the mic, feel it. Y'all can't do what I do, just admit it. I'm about to get it, money, get it, drop it to the floor. Shake my big bitties, bopping like did it. My face look pretty, y'all ain't doing shit, no, I done did it. Cause I'm marvelous, fantabulous, a bad chick, the flow sick like oh shit. You know this, I'm too fit to ever quit. Knocking these fools out like pool sticks. I do this, I move this, I prove this. Bars be hard like a pound of bricks. It go up, jump to boogie to the bang bang high. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. It's Missy E and DJ Skrillex. Yeah. This shit so hot, you need it. Yeah.
Hey everyone, are you passionate about cars and racing? You've got to check out the AEO Boys Discord because it's the ultimate hub for all things Assetto Corsa. Imagine a place where you can connect with like-minded individuals who share your love for tracks and the thrill of racing, because that's exactly what we're offering. We organize exclusive events that provide adrenaline-pumping, thrilling races, competitive leagues, and exciting challenges, all put together by our dedicated team. If you're into the technical side of things, our Tech Talk sessions are perfect for discussing setups, mods, and tips to boost your driving skills and performance. But it's not just about the cars and the tracks, it's about the community. We pride ourselves on having a friendly and supportive atmosphere where everyone's welcome. Whether you're a seasoned driver or just getting started, you'll benefit from the expertise and insights of experienced drivers and simulation experts and enthusiasts who are eager to share their knowledge. We're committed to continuously improving and growing to meet the needs of all racing fans. For more information and details about updates, be sure to visit our website at aeoboys.com. So are you ready to hit the virtual track with AEO Boys? Join us today at discord.gg/AEOBOYZ and unleash your passion for driving an Assetto Corsa. Rev your engines and dive into the world of virtual driving with us. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Hey everyone, MB Drifts here. Join me on Patreon to elevate your drifting skills with 3 levels of drift school, personalized Assetto Corsa support, and flexible 30-minute anything goes sessions. Your support helps maintain our event servers, which we really need. Head over to patreon.com/MB_drifts and choose your tier. Let's hit the virtual track together.
In need of focus and energy? Try sliding sauce at swiftenergy.gg. Make sure to use coupon code DSKIDS at checkout and save yourself 25% off the entire store. All right, welcome back from our little ad break. As we were discussing beforehand, we're talking a little bit about how takeovers and the such have kind of ruined, some drift spots. There were locations that were beforehand, like you had said, there was an Amazon lot that they were allowed to slide around in the back until people started getting, carried away with it, and then that spot got taken away from them. You guys got any similar experiences such as that? Throw them down in the chat. If you have any questions for our guests or ourselves here, throw them in the chat. We are reading the chat. Get involved.
We are always
This is
watching.
an interactive podcast.
Sorry, my dog is interfering right now.
Not a
Cookie.
problem. We do not
He's
shun the pups and dogs away.
Don't-
We like animals.
Hello.
he's just trying to hop in the chat, dog.
Yeah. Oh.
So, now that we've
I
kind of
see
moved
Aaron
into-
said, oh, go ahead.
moved into the second half here. Oh yeah, Aaron saying that simming is what keeps him out of trouble.
Yep, I seen that in the vehicles.
As
Absolutely.
long as he's got a spot there, he can spool the turbo up and roll through a couple of gears. He is set for the day/week. And also in the sim, you can try so many different vehicles from one seat. Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
Now that we have kind of moved into
absolutely.
the second half of our show, I think we can take a little bit of a moment and break into a segment of the Drift Corner, where we discuss different aspects kind of around drifting, suspension, stuff like that. Last week we covered suspension geometry and ARB. I believe this week we're going to touch a little bit on tires. So, guests and whatnot, if you have some information or things that you'd like to toss out, which you've experienced with tires and whatnot, tires, tire compounds, as it's a different blend of materials that make up the tire. They affect grip, durability, performance characteristics. You'll find in drifting, you'll hear of soft compounds and hard compounds with tires. Softs tend to provide more grip, as to opposed hards give you a little bit more longevity out of the tire. Kind of plays into the tuning aspect as to, you want to select the tire compounds based on the track and the style of driving that you're going to be doing, the weather, how aggressive you're going to be might change on what tires you choose.
Yes.
Another thing that kind of goes into that is tread patterns. It's the design, arrangement, or grooves, channels in the tire, if you will. What that can do is influence like water dispersion, heat dispersion, and can change up the grip characteristics. That's why you'll find that certain people run not only a specific brand and style is because of not only the compound it's made from, but it has a specific like tread pattern on it that works well with what they're doing.
Not also forget about tread count.
Correct. And
Yeah.
it also has
Absolutely.
tire pressure and management. That's a huge one. Running the correct tire
Massive.
And your
has
tread
a
wear.
huge play on how you're going to perform, and you'd be surprised on the difference between like 5 psi and how big that can change the characteristics of the car.
That's very true.
Oh,
IRL
absolutely.
and in-game.
And then other things to
Uh,
consider, when you're doing tires and stuff like that is your temp management. And that has to do with I don't know, not being so damn aggressive all the time. Sometimes you gotta choose when to be aggressive and learn to, throttle control it and learn not to beat your tires up as much. Make them stretch.
So some IRL input, if you will.
Yeah,
Um,
please.
yeah. So if you're out doing some laps, your tires are obviously heating the hell up, right? You're trying to get your car sideways, you're going to spin them out. You're going to be obviously removing tread from the tire if you're drifting. And
mhm.
you're going to be partially, well, if you're unlucky, delamming or debeating. But if you're lucky enough to get through a lap, when you're done, please make sure that you try and cool down your tires. Use that water box if your site has one. If you have a hose, go grab it. If you have water sprayers on your tires, use them. That will help
Matt Zara,
save your
welcome
tire
back.
life.
Troy, shout out.
It will help save your tires
Yeah.
immensely.
Yeah, definitely, definitely heat cycling tires. Getting them hot, cooling them off, same thing. Right? Especially if you're on like a hot lap track, like HBA, for example.
Yep.
I'll find myself quite often just throwing down 3 to 5 laps, and then heading back to the pit because it's hot as shit, and just shutting the car down. And I find that I actually burn through a lot more tires that way, put a lot more stress on the car. So cooling everything down, tires as well, is definitely something that's very important.
So
and
on
choosing
your S14,
Mhm.
Daniel,
Mhm.
is does that have the water sprayers on the tires, or did you what did you do
It
last
did.
last time to cool those off?
I didn't do anything. I didn't get as many laps in as I wanted to because we ended up having some idle air, some intake air temperature sensor issues. But normally I would have cooled them down after every 2 laps. Probably switch sides. Like we didn't do much in the aspect of taking care of our tires this last go round. We were just worried about shaking the car down, figuring out what we're gonna do. But on the flip side of that, picking the right tire was very, very, very important. Um,
Yes.
it's one of those things that, depending on what you're going to do with the car, how you're going to budget for it, and trying to pick that right tire that stays in a budget that you can live with, was something that I actually found pretty difficult. Just because I was never a tire guy, right? I've only been drifting a year. Whatever tires came on a vehicle that I bought, that's what it had. That's what we replaced them
Yeah.
with. It was just always super simple. And I learned very quickly that the different tire compounds and different setups are heavily based on what kind of car you're driving, what kind of driving you are doing, and the way that you need to, I guess, preserve a tire, like say during an event. And I mean everything from your rears to your fronts. We're gonna plug here, Texas Tire and Parts and Valino are my go-to's. I run Kendas on the rear just because I like the way they grip up with the car setup. The way everything that we do on the rear, Kenda is probably my way to go. And I actually run Valino R's on the front. They're a much softer tire and provide a whole lot of grip, and it actually prevents a lot of understeer as well.
hmm
And so that's where the importance of the tire compound and pressures come into play heavily for us.
So what tire pressure would you normally run in the front on a say an 80-degree day on a normal first lap out?
Normal
What do you
first
normally
lap
run?
out, just my preference and what I ran was, I think it was 30 on the rear, and I believe like 25 to 28 in the front. And that, that's first lap out, and then as we progress throughout the day, as they heat up, I'm probably running about 30 to 32 psi in the rear hot, and then I normally try to keep them around 25 to 28 up front. I try to keep it that way all day. It
So you'll
tends
go about letting
to,
out some air as time progresses and they heat up,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. And that way we try to get an even wear pattern across the entire tire. Um, and try to preserve some sidewall. I know, before I learned more about tires and, learning in the BMW,
Yeah.
your suspension setup actually has a lot to do with the way your tires wear as well. And so we were having a lot of sidewall issues, and all we did was, change the PSI, change very minor suspension setup, and then now we're making, full blown, sorry, we're making tires last all day on, you know, some pretty wild cars,
Yeah.
just by
That's
simply
insane.
adjusting minor things and heat cycling.
It's a very
So
important task, but it is a necessity. When
just
you're
a quick
IRL
touch
drifting, yes.
real fast. Mazzaro over from the AEO Twitch takeover shit kind of ruined car spots and even changed law in his country. And now normal car guys are losing a lot in society's eyes. So seems to be an issue over in where was it you were from again? I don't quite remember. Was it Poland? Was it Poland? I believe it was Poland. It was the man that sent us the couple of drift videos into the Discord on the
Okay.
last podcast.
Yeah.
He's tuning in again
Talking
with
about
us. So.
Peppermint Boy. Okay.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so he's from Poland. So Poland is the takeover shit is kind of ruining things over there as well.
That's unfortunate
Apparently.
as hell.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Sorry to hear that, man. It's yeah. I mean, you see what's obviously. I'm sure you can see on the internet what it's doing for us over here.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
great.
We're all getting fucked by it. It's
So in the meantime, just to make a quick touch, we seem to appear to have a little bit of a technical difficulty going on with some audio coming from SimCave's mic. In the meantime, what I've done to circumvent the issue just for a little bit is when he's not speaking, I've muted it, the audio, to try to help cancel out the echo while we'll take a moment and try to get that fixed in the background. So if it does happen to come up again once we get it, we think, fixed on our end, just let us know, and we'll do our best to get it fixed. If not, I mean, hey, we'll just do the mute and unmute throughout the rest of the stream, I guess, and try to keep it as clear as possible for you guys, and then keep it to where you can still hear Brandon when he talks. So, yeah. So back to like tires. Any instances or any tips, any suggestions tire-wise before we kind of move away from the corner? So go ahead, toss them out with me. So.
All right. So when you're picking a tire, please try to remember what you're doing with the tire and what your budget is, because picking tires depends solely on budget and ability, as well as what you're going to be doing with it. Like, try and remember what kind of tracks you're going to be driving on ahead of time. If you're doing this for IRL, pick a tire that will work well with your application. You need to make sure you have enough tread wear as well as grip with the tires you're going to be picking. If you're low horsepower, you need a little less grip, so you're going to be picking something with a higher tread wear and something that you can air up, because you need to make sure that you can still break those tires loose. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tires.
Tires. Just tires, man. That's it. We gave a
tires,
breakdown for it. You've got a few insights from some guys that do IRL driving. If any of you guys in the chat want to add to the topic, just a quick touchback on it. It was just, going over what tires were, tire compounds, tread patterns, tire pressure and management, temperature management. Seeing that what we discussed, obviously seed tire selection and management are crucial to give you the best performance and consistency, especially when you're doing competitive drifting. Understanding what tires are and how those tread patterns work, pressures, are really going to help you out. So, when you're out doing practice runs and whatnot, play with your tune a little bit, play with the tire settings, play, to find out what works best and what suits your abilities the best. And that's kind of really all we have for the Drifters Corner for this week.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of push on and keep on talking. So where are you guys driving at right now? What are you guys doing?
We are on AEO development SRP server. We're testing out some of these cars, like Yoda's G35 I'm in right now. It's getting it down the SRP into a car.
That thing is just straight bonkers. There's
It
no
really
other
is,
word for it. There's no other car that I know that can do 260 around a corner.
It's like it has F1 downforce.
They're doing some background work as well as while they're on here on the podcast. We've been doing some testing. We should have some new car packs coming out here soon for SRP as well as, and I believe that's going to be what for the JDM segment. And then I believe we also have a development going on for LA Canyons that hopefully will be getting released here soon. So those of you guys who drive on the AEO servers, you guys can keep up on the Discord, and the Discord is discord.gg/AEO boys with the ends with a Z. Definitely get in there if you're not, and keep an eye out for the announcements channels for when we do drop those new car packs, so you guys can hop in and see what's fresh and new.
Ooh.
With that being said, we did just have an update on the East and West 2 servers on SRP modded. So that's something that's semi-fresh out for you guys to go and check out as well. Yeah, that's kind of pretty much it there on the server fronts per se. We'll hopefully have some information coming out here for you guys soon for the next drift competition. Really looking forward to trying to get a push on that and get that going and get a competition out for you guys. So stay tuned for some more information for that here in the near future. Yeah, that's it. That's it for, I think, for the per se server.
For what we have to do.
What's that?
What do we have to do?
Talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Give updates. News.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of news, I saw it was this morning. I think I got an email from Assetto Corsa or Kunos simulation about Evo regarding Steam.
Evo.
So it's been listed on Steam, and y'all can go wishlist it now.
So for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, Evo, Assetto Corsa Evolution, which is going to be aka Assetto Corsa 2. It is basically finally getting an update, a proper update from them, from the actual developers of the game, and so we're looking and hoping to see, obviously, Assetto Corsa was built around its own engine, right? I believe they've done the same thing around on Evo, and so this is what they have been working on this whole time while we've been, as the community, kind of modding and keeping Assetto alive for the last decade or so, Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what they're going to bring out. There's been some teaser footage that's kind of gone around. That looks really good. I'm really just curious to see what they're going to do, and I'm really curious to see if they're going to give us an integration to keep some of the a way to keep some of the cars and mods that the community have built so far, because I would hate to see, as much as I want to see a new Assetto Corsa, right, like a new game, I don't want to see my current library of mods become,
Useless.
Obsolete.
useless per se. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna get. I mean, Content Manager and Assetto Corsa is not coming anywhere off of my PC anytime soon, even after it
Right.
drops. Like I'm still gonna probably fall back to our modded original Assetto Corsa. For at least until it starts to take off, unless there is a huge if they allow basically a seamless transition of all of our mods, then I mean that'd be a different story.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that honestly that's what they're going to do, because we have a decade worth of mods for the game that we built up. And I understand that there have been certain relationships built, I'll say that, between some of the mod makers in the community and some other people that are fairly important in this process. So there is a pretty decent chance, I'd say, that we might actually be able to see our stuff make it through, and I'm hoping that that does happen.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'd love to see the transition. I'm hoping it's, you know, I'm hoping to be kind of blown away with it, considering they've been working on it for, a decade.
10 years.
If the screenshots on Steam are any indication, blown away is the least of your concerns, sir.
Right.
That looks
So yeah,
pretty
as he had stated, it
fucking
is available
amazing.
on Steam for you to go and check out and add to your wish list. After the podcast, I might just go and do so myself.
Yeah.
So any other new
Oh,
games that you guys have been kind of checking out on the front for driving wise? Chat as well, if you've got anything. Feel free to share
God,
it.
that thing's fun. Swear to God, that G35.
I mean, outside of whenever outside of Assetto, really away from the PC, it's all just FR Legends and Torque Drift.
Oh, you play some
About it.
Torque Drift?
Eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, man. A little bit.
A little bit. On the
Yeah,
PC or on the phone?
Yeah.
MB used to be a bit of a Torque Drift driver, I believe, and so a little bit.
Just
Yeah.
Just on mobile though.
Okay.
Nothing.
I had gone all out. I was PC and I was trying to become a sweat at the game. I was actually kind of decent, And
but look what it did
then
for
I was
you.
like, there's something better here. There's got to be something better. And then I found a setup. And then I literally haven't touched Torque Drift since, until Torque Drift 2 came out, and then that was for like 2 hours to try to play the game, and it's still a fucking misery of a game.
Matt Zaro says he still loves to go back to LFS and asked, did any of you guys play? I myself, I did not.
I did not, no.
Yeah, I've only been on Assetto for like maybe 7-8 months now.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, my love for drifting goes back all the way to like.
Yeah.
I think that's where I started trying to drift, was Need for Speed. You really couldn't in Need for Speed, but Gran Turismo is where a lot of it where it started. Right, I've always been a fan of drifting.
Back whenever Underground 2 came out, or Underground, like the original.
Yeah.
Like, they had just started incorporating drifting. And like Underground 1 and 2, you could do like the drift courses, and they were freaking mint back.
They were amazing. I remember that fucking RX-7 in Underground. That thing was such a beast.
Oh,
it would just snap to angle and just like,
The 350Z was
Okay. What was your chosen car back in the day with Forza 4?
240 with an RB swap
There you go.
with like
I
a
remember-
1,000 horsepower.
I remember back in the days of like Motorsport 7 driving around in a 240 with an LS pushing like 1,000.
See, in Motorsport 4, we didn't get the LS yet. All we had was the R34 swap, and I think that was it.
Mm,
A rotary. There's a 4-rotor. You
Gotcha.
could do a 4-rotor or a R34 swap.
Seeing in the chat Pontiac GTO and U2.
Yeah.
Mm.
There you go. That GTO, I remember that thing. Underground too? Yeah.
Yeah.
GTO was a beast.
Which actually, Yoda, you've been playing a lot of that lately. At least through Assetto, playing the underground map lately.
I
If I'm not
have
mistaken,
been.
right?
I have been. I've been. I know that map like the back of my hand. It's crazy.
Yeah, see, that's another
I would
reason
say that
why,
you've been
like,
playing it a little more than just a little bit then.
Oh
it's just
yeah.
a,
No, I mean, and plus I have like a lot of the Need for Speed maps plus the cars.
Yeah.
I mean, if I ever feel like I want to try to recreate something, I could definitely do it.
No, that is an idea. I mean, that's
I mean,
definitely
a
possible.
lot of people do that too in a lot of cases. I mean, just for the fun of it.
This is true. I remember when I did the Gran Turismo maps, I put
Like I've
Grand
done
Valley Speedway and
the
a few of the
Tokyo
others up.
Drift map, like the parking garage and the
Oh
Tokyo Drift
yeah.
cars. Like
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done a whole lot of stuff.
That's fun. That's just fun.
Oh yeah, it's a hoot.
A hoot and a holler.
a
Yeah,
hoot and a holler.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
So what's your plans with the S14 now, Dan? What's your next build up plan for it? Got anything?
or whatever you're willing to share, I guess.
Probably just yeah. Probably cleaning up the body kit quite a bit. We just got the new D-Max style hood vent in. Plan on refreshing the KBD kit, getting some new fenders. Just kind of just
Big
cleaning
shout
it
out
up
to
overall.
KBD Kits because I met the owner and got to drive with him.
Irving.
Yep, I got to drive with him in his 370 or 350. That's a
Nice.
beautiful car. Yeah, for sure. Love
Oh,
it, man.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for the most part,
do
we're
any of you
just
guys got
cleaning
any
it up.
projects going?
What's up?
Let us know. I was just saying, Chad, if you guys got any projects kind of going, let us know.
Oh, for sure.
You also can submit if you've got photos or videos, anything you guys are doing, you can submit it over in the Discord, in the IRL photos and videos section. We'll tend to kind of phase through there and check that kind of stuff out. Speaking of which, I mean, I think here on one of the next episodes, we'll take a phase through, maybe not through this one, but on one of our next episodes, we'll phase through and do another tech corner where we go through and look at some viewer submitted sim rigs and PCs and do a little rating of our own, if you will.
Sounds like fun.
So something to look forward to for one of the next episodes. So if you would like to possibly get your rig or PC showcased, make sure to go and post those over in the Discord in the appropriate sections.
Also, I mean, any IRL drift clips are more than welcome.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely.
We love seeing those.
Yeah. Send some stuff
I
in.
would definitely love to see what you guys have been up to as far as sliding around in real life goes, what all you're driving, and how things are going on that front.
Yeah, and we could, you know, if we get enough submissions that come in, maybe we can take a moment out of the segment to, you know, go through those and view those for those of you that are watching in on the Twitch. Might not be so as much entertaining per se on the podcast side for those that tune in through Spotify, but you know, if you are tuning in through the video side of things, it should be pretty fun to go through and check out some drifting from some members of the community. So.
Oh, for sure. Now I know I've got my stuff up in there too. So y'all feel free to check out the Z and some of the videos that I've got posted.
Yeah.
And Yoda, do you have any of your 350 or your 35 in there?
No, not yet. I probably could post a couple. I need to get some videos uploaded too.
Oh, for sure, man. You got to do that.
Yeah, I need to. Unfortunately, uh, part of those may or may not be a legal issue.
Uh-oh.
Can't provide evidence online.
That's what I'm excited for.
I'm not gonna say yes or no on anything, but we'll just say that
Just say it was
things
filmed
have
in
to be gone
Mexico.
through.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, filmed in Mexico, exactly.
Viewer discretion is
Th-
advised.
Yeah, just
These stunts and
don't
actions were
use
performed in
don't use
Mexico.
Google Maps to match up anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Kind of
don't
avoid
try
that
this at
stuff, guys.
home. Oh,
No,
goodness.
eventually I'll end up getting some pictures of the car and how everything's coming and what all going on with that. I know I still have a lot of progression to do on it. I still need to get body kit done, motor swap done, a whole lot of things done. So
Yeah.
overall, it's definitely a work in progress, but I've
Yeah.
made a huge progression as far as suspension goes and getting stability and everything else underway. So that is definitely a huge plus. I know after I get the motor swap done, I'm going to go ahead and do the Wise Fab with the rack relocate, finally put that on. It's been a long time coming. But we'll just have to see how it goes. I know I've got a couple of things to do in between that. So definitely a
That
process.
that's where we're
Yeah.
at as trying to figure out if we're, gonna actually do the rack relocation. We've been talking a lot between Renspec and Sparky Built about some different solutions that aren't all, just out of the box. Because I don't necessarily want to get away from the PBM angle kit that's on the car. And so integrating something from Sparky Built with the rack and subframe should be pretty interesting to move that thing forward.
So,
It's never too bad for innovation.
Manzaro coming in with a question. Best car out of box for drifting for each of you.
For
Oh,
me, it would be a 350Z or a G35 out of the
Are we
box.
talking about in game or are we talking about IRL?
So let's go with
Either
both.
way.
yeah.
Let's go with both. Let's start off with
Okay.
your IRL choice and then your virtual choice.
My choice
Hmm.
stands for both IRL and game.
Okay.
All
So
right.
me in game, pretty much any car out of the box, and then just I can make minor adjustments. But it's in real life, I'm gonna probably stand behind the BMW just because of firsthand experience between myself and my buddy Nick, who actually got me into drifting. The only thing that we did to my BMW for my first event was weld the diff, and that was it.
Yeah.
And to whereas before he was able to get that Z out, we had to do quite a bit to it just to make it slide even remotely close to the way the BMW did. But don't get me wrong, the 350Z is an amazing first chassis out of the box. There's just a little bit more that goes into it versus, say, like an E90 or an E46.
Appreciate the follow.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Zeppy.
But at the same time, let's look at replacement parts. Now the 36, the 90, and the 46, well, there's not as many of them, right? So the production wasn't as widespread as the Z, weren't as many units built. So the
Hmm.
replacement parts are
Right.
also fewer and higher cost. So if budget is an issue, keep that in mind when choosing a first car.
They
Right.
are. that's where we were at, right? So when we started the BMW, it was supposed to be out for like 2,500 bucks. Unicorn made a full, like a $400 or $500 angle kit for it, and then the ASD handbrake is what we ended up going with, and it was actually really cheap to maintain, despite a lot of BMW claims, especially it being an E90 and it being mostly electronic. It actually was really, really easy to maintain and didn't cost too much, uh, outside of tires and the wheels for it. I mean, most parts I could run down to AutoZone, O'Reilly, or one of the Euro shops that are pretty local in Houston. Um, but
Yeah.
overall, if you were on a trip, let's say like somebody went to Drift Week or something like that, it's definitely going to be easier to fix a Z on the side of the road than it is an E90 for sure.
Yep. That's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know where I'm at specifically. It's definitely going to be a lot easier for me to get a part for a 350Z or a G35 than it would be for me to get a part for any BMW, regardless
Right.
of make or model.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's purely just based off location. Uh,
Right.
I know for a fact that if I were to try to get a BMW where I'm at, it would be just an absolute shit show just trying to get anything for it.
So I've just always been a fan of, S chassis.
Okay.
So, and that goes for both. Like, in game, like you'll constantly find me sliding around in like a fucking S13.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite cars. I like the look. They're infamous in the scene. So like, it's just, I don't know. That's my pick for
Yeah.
both. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, out of the box, the SR S chassis was an option in Japan.
Oh, it
Touche.
was the
Hmm.
better option in
It was
Japan.
Yeah, it
definitely the
was. It
better
was
option
the
in
better.
Japan. No
Let,
question.
let's just not shorthand that any. It was the better option.
Turbo, no turbo. Yeah.
Much rather the 200 SX, to be more specific than the 240
One
SX.
of my favorite.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I would even take the 180 CA18 over the KA.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that a KA18?
Yeah. Which
The
one?
CA's I think is slightly different from the KA. It's kind of in its own genre of a motor, if I'm not mistaken. But it was another turbo
It was a
model,
T.
yes.
Yeah. It was a CAT. That's right. CA18 DET, I believe.
Yep.
So he has another question. Top three drift
Yeah.
mods in car, except differential and shocks. Let's make it a bit
Ooh.
harder.
Okay. All right.
Angle
So
kit.
Seat, a seat, a seat,
that's
hands
no,
down,
because
a
it's a
seat
drift car. You
forever.
can't say that. You can't say
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
That's a given.
Yes.
So it seems number
You'd be
one is a
surprised.
seat.
Yes, a seat.
Yeah.
I agree.
Number one,
Seats.
definitely number one, a seat. But outside, like if you're actually having to mod something and change a lot of things up, I would say the cooling system is probably one of the bigger ones,
Yeah.
especially us living down here in Texas. It gets insanely hot. So the number one goal of any event for us down here in the summertime is to keep the car as cool as we can. So
Mhm.
you big radiators, big fans. That I believe is probably one of the more important things, for sure.
Agreed.
Like I would say extended knuckles or like an angle kit or something.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to have some angle to slide to get some good slides in. Past that, a hydro's nice. And if you're going to be doing any real drifting, a hydro is kind of a necessity, especially if you're chasing. Um, but engine
Secondary, I'd say
wise,
clutch.
or no, I'd say, yeah, secondary, haven't, well, it depends on power level. You don't want to have too much clutch for your power level.
And be we watched these try clutch.
No, you watched me finish off a clutch that was
Yeah,
already
Oh,
completely
God.
gone when
Oh,
I bought
no.
the
was
car.
finish off a
It
clutch.
it wasn't just the
Finish off is
clutch.
still frying.
It
So in
wasn't
the
just the
350Z,
clutch.
so in the 350Z, there was this little stub that is inside,
Yep.
and it was gone. It was cast into the transmission casing, and it was gone.
Well, that's just because the throwout bearing decided to blow up. That was gonna happen regardless, my guy.
Was it?
That's a
It was gonna happen regardless, one way or the other.
I think it was wild.
B.
I mean, a new transmission, that's only what, like 800, 900 bucks for me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought they're way more expensive than that. Did they go down?
Yeah, they're in that range. 900 to
No.
It's
1200,
yeah
depending on where you go.
somewhere between depending on the setup and what you're using for if you're doing aftermarket stuff, it's about 800 900 bucks.
That's
Yep.
not too bad.
No,
I
I'm just
mean,
waiting
For
for the
engine is the
upgrades,
day.
same
though,
price too.
I'd definitely have to say Knuckles, and it's tough because I do agree with the coolant thing, but also for maximum driving time for somebody learning, I almost want to say rear arms so that way you can get your tire wear right.
Absolutely.
Definitely toe and camber arms in the rear is a biggie because
Just fully
maximizing.
adjustable camber and toe all around. Amazing.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to
Yes.
maximize your tire wear, which is gonna mean more laps, more seat time at a cheaper cost, you know. So especially when you're learning, I feel like that's really important. And then
Also,
Knuckles, just because not all cars have great stock Ackerman, and
Yeah.
so it
Yep.
does help having a good knuckle setup to make the
third,
car
Yes.
I want to
self-steer the way it should.
say for third, I want to say wheels and tires. Like if you
Yeah,
have a really good set of wheels and tires, that makes a huge difference.
yeah, tires.
Yeah.
It does.
Sway bars are another big one. Okay, so coilovers. Let's do this as a package, right? You got your coilovers and arms, right? I'd say
Mhm.
that would be a package, right? And then you've got your ARB, you've got your wheels and tires, and then you got your angle kit. Those are all huge, absolutely gigantic when it comes to being able to help you drift properly.
One thing that gets overlooked quite a bit, that I find personally, is brake pads, and rotors. Um,
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
you,
that's
So
serious.
that's a lot
and
of
I
brake
A
power.
nice
Like
brake
you're
kit.
putting in.
absolutely. And and I learned that the hard way on the BMW whenever I'm coming in for an entry and I pull the handbrake and I've got to like double, triple pull it and then trying to left foot brake and and the rotors are glazed over, like it becomes a nightmare. So definitely one of the bigger things that I did is brakes and rotors.
Yeah, here recently, Mr. MB, our own right over here, has asked me about modifications that he would be looking into for his IRL 350. And one of the things that I had mentioned just right off the bat was no, it's brakes and rotors.
That was
LS
actually the
swap
first thing
was
he
like third
mentioned.
on the list.
That was his
Okay.
go-to. Yeah, that was his go-to.
Yeah, that was like third on the list. But no, the first thing I had mentioned was brakes and rotors, only because yeah, that is completely overlooked a lot of the time. And a lot of the time people don't realize you're putting your brakes through an awful lot when you're
Yes.
trying to drift or catch doors or whatever you're doing. Like your brakes are taking the grunt of pretty much everything. And if you're constantly trying to slow down or go fast or do whatever you're doing, your brakes are going to heat and cool and heat and cool. And if you don't have the proper braking system, that's not going to help you any bit. I mean, for instance, I was telling MB he should probably start looking towards getting the ceramic brakes with the, drilled and slotted rotors and stuff like that, so that way he can try to keep his stuff cool. Because the moment you start heating up is the moment that bad things are gonna start happening.
Yep.
There's just no way around that. For all you know, your brake fluid could start getting hot, and then before you know it, you don't have any fucking brakes.
Yep. boil it off, and that pedal goes straight to the floor every time.
Yep.
And
At that point, you better hope you have a standalone handbrake that you can use to stop. And that
or
is
you
if that is, even active. If that isn't, overheated as well.
Oh, absolutely. And where I found right, so I actually prefer 100% front bias brakes. And even getting the S14, that was something that car does have. And so making sure that those brakes were okay was one of the first things that I looked at before I ever bought the car.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of things that go into the process of making a drift car. It's uncanny. So for us to just name off just one or two things is really difficult because there are so many different things that go into it.
Mm.
Everything
I,
reacts with everything. You change one thing, it changes everything. That's just how it is.
I'm gonna
So
revert back to real quick the out of the box drift cars, and I completely forgot because I have stopped showing this car some love. But I have an '05 S197 Mustang GT. Out of the box comes with factory panhard bars, 355 rear diff that has an LSD in it. So literally, I can actually hop in the car and go to an event. I'm not going to do any crazy tandems or some sick backy injuries, but I can hit a donut box. I can hit a skid pad. I could probably link a track in that car. Literally just putting a brand new set of tires on it and going.
Yeah.
fun fact of the Ford Mustang, they are the only car manufacturer to come factory with an option for a hydro.
That's true.
Yes.
Their new
And
2024 has that drift handbrake.
yes, yes. The new Dark Horse has the electronic drift brake, and it's
You can
literally just a
also get
setting.
it for 21 and up models as well as an extra
Ooh,
option.
interesting.
Like for instance, the RTRs and the
AYO, superb.
350s
Welcome.
and 500s, you can get them.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
So, but yeah, I mean, we got a new Pro-Am car, and just the Mustang just kind of fell away. We still got it. It's put up. It's nice and safe. It's not gonna die anytime soon. But we'll get to putting that car together as well, and probably start bringing out multiple cars. Um, you know, I've got quite a few personal friends that are wanting to learn how to drift, seeing how fun this shit is.
Yep.
And yeah, so we'll probably start bringing out more cars.
Yeah,
Hey,
I can't
Daniel.
wait till I get down there with you guys. It's definitely gonna be a hoot.
So
Hey,
Oh, for
Daniel.
another
sure.
thing coming in is, did you hear, or what is your opinion on handbreaker for both axes, pull for rear and push for fronts?
So
Handbrake
I
for both
personally,
axes?
so I don't know about a handbrake for the front, or two handbrakes. It's you're limiting. You got a lot. You don't have much space there, right? Um.
And it gets
So
hectic
what?
in the moment.
Yeah, it really does, especially if they look the same. Um.
Well,
But
so
I've
it
like
sounds like
myself,
what he's
I
saying
have.
is it's a for both axes. So literally you pull it for the rear
Oh, it's a
and you
pull and
push it for the
push.
front.
Oh,
That
so my
no. I don't know
yeah.
because
I've
Personally,
never
For
I
done
me,
with
would.
that.
because I know damn well that I would go to reach to grab to pull it, and just for that instinct of reaching out, like right in the motion, I'm probably gonna end up pushing it forward a little bit, and I would be a continuous
and
thing
you'll
where I'd be
over
like, fuck.
rotate.
Yeah.
I
That
think
would be an
that would be
absolute clusterfuck.
So apparently Stewie Bryant
it,
uses one. He invented it, I guess.
so
The push pull.
so for me, I feel that it would be, especially if you're tandeming, that's something that's going to hinder you a lot, just because whenever, especially like HPA, we have a section where you manji to try to slow down, and you have to pull your handbrake, and every now and then you have to left foot brake, especially if you're in a chase there. So trying to be able to pull that handbrake and then push it forward at the same time, it just for me doesn't make sense.
Mitty coming in saying quite a few cars using that at the moment I've seen on YouTube. So it's, I
Oh,
guess, becoming a more popular thing.
You know, we might have to pull that up real quick and watch it.
Entry driver from Australia, I believe,
Yeah.
or New Zealand. So I mean, I wonder if like when he's getting it to a certain amount of angle, if he's pushing it forward to keep the car from completely rotating and rolling backwards.
Probably
Bringing the
locking
front
the
end
front
back.
tires to lock himself into place.
So I am looking at this. They got a double
I mean, to be
axis
fair, I
handbrake.
kind of do that on a Seto using like left foot braking.
Oh yeah, I agree. Definitely not for every circumstance. Grassroots style, like driving HPA or something, I definitely wouldn't want something like that on the car. I
No,
would
but if you're
for
on
sure
North
push it
Course and you're
forward.
coming down the hill doing mock Jesus, throw a fat backy into that hairpin, I mean, that might actually help out a little bit.
But if I had a car that was dedicated to like just big backy entry comps, then yeah, that'd be kind of neat to have.
If
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
Oh,
helps,
Well,
yeah.
absolutely.
we'll see.
But
I mean, it may
will
be
it
a
help much
future
more
in
than
drift.
will? Yeah, yeah, it might. But will it help much more than foot brake?
I
It
mean,
can.
in my
We already
opinion,
have foot
instead of
brakes.
running, right? So we already have foot brakes, right?
We're already
And in my
conditioned to use
case,
them.
right, exactly, and my pedal does 100% front bias. My hydro is 100% rear. Um, I would think, I would think, instead of like a double axis handbrake, that you would put another brake in the floor for your rears. And so now your feet are all doing the same thing across 4 pedals versus 3. I mean, to me, that would make more sense versus a double axis handbrake.
I feel like you're just recreating an action that you're already doing. But
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, it's weird to think about, right? Because, since anybody we know started drifting, it's always been pull back or pull up handbrake. So trying to do,
Fucking ninja
doing something
pedals.
else, not only does it look weird, but it might also feel weird.
And if
It's
it
just
feels
kind of,
weird, you're not going to be apt to want to do it in the heat of the moment.
right.
Shift more towards the electronic side of things.
Yes.
I don't know. That's just kind of my opinion on it. But look at like a lot of cars. I don't know if people know this or not, but a lot of I know Daniel probably does, and MB probably does, and Yoda too. But a lot of cars run, probably D skids as well, run the Volvo electronic power steering pumps, and you can really fine tune the feedback that you get out of the steering wheel. So I wouldn't be surprised to see brakes move in that direction to where you can electronically fine tune the bias and amount of pressure you can get on the front versus the rear of the vehicle.
Absolutely.
And that would really change the whole drivability of the car, like 100%, because you could fine tune everything to your driving style.
that would
Zaro,
really
I
just take
agree.
like a hydraulic cylinder.
Yeah.
I agree, Zaro. It definitely could be just, thinking it's just another weapon that's available for a driver to use, And for some it
Yeah,
may work, and for
yeah.
others it's not their thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I guess
And
really
speaking,
just depends on
oh, go ahead. No, absolutely. But speaking of doing, everything starting to move electronic, I just so happened to catch Mad Mike is building a McLaren drift car, and it
Oh,
has electronic shifting features in that car already. And so he actually took the paddle shifters, moved them down to the center console, and is using a Moza sequential shifter inside of the car.
That is
And
fucking amazing.
I'm super, yeah. So I'm super excited to see that. And it's definitely something that I want to look at, doing more with. I don't know how we're gonna do it. Probably not an S14 thing, but we're definitely gonna find out how we can integrate sim equipment into real life cars.
I mean, we can
That's
already
fucking
swap
amazing.
out our steering wheels, so.
Oh yeah.
The shifter, the bolt-on shifter thing from Drift HQ.
Oh,
No.
the S1 sequential.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so that is actually the sequential that went into the C6, the Not a Pro C6. I just found that out yesterday.
Because you can switch that thing to like automatic and then
Yes.
back to manual. And it's
What?
all on an electronic module. And it just
Yeah.
bolts onto the transmission.
Remember, MB? I was telling you about this like 2 months ago.
No, I don't remember. That's 2 months ago.
Oh, well, touche.
Yeah.
Hey, pop it over to manual. Now it's time to bang some gears and like shred laps. That simple.
Nice. Okay.
Absolutely.
And Zara
Hell
saying
yeah.
it's normal now that people use DCT and 8 horsepower gearbox with a controller.
Wow. See, I don't know if it's that big of a thing yet here in the States.
What is
Must
it,
be
the
over there.
DTC? Oh, so okay, so I was just a part of a group chat that just went through this whole conversation. I don't think it ended very well. A lot of people.
Wait,
Never
what?
does. Never does.
I mean, the price point of the 8 HP here is a lot higher than it is over there. And so it's just kind of one of those things. There was, I don't know, probably 10 people arguing about this a couple of hours ago. And I just ignored it because we were getting ready for this. So I mean, we can go back and read some of this. It's wild.
Be interesting to see what their input is.
Let's see, where's it
Good
at?
questions and good input. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Biddy had a comment here. She was like, as long as computers the raw as control of the car all the time.
Oh, agreed.
Man,
Yeah,
that's
100%.
dissipating at an incredible rate, though. It really is. I hop in 24, 25 cars all the time, and each new car I hop into, there's just another step that you have to go through, and just even more bullshit that you have to do. And eventually, it's gotten to the point now to where half of you can't even put it in drive without having done a whole list of things beforehand. I mean, it's crazy. And whenever you actually do drive the vehicle, there's so many assists, so many different things that you almost lose the sense of you're actually driving. If it wasn't for the fact that you were barreling down the road in something that weighed 2 tons, you almost wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Well, all that is the senses.
It's just crazy, and that's another reason why me personally, I'll almost never own a new car. If I buy anything past 2010, it'll be a miracle in itself. I think I've owned one car that was like 2015, and that was it. And that was the Taurus SHO.
Yeah. No, I
But
think the
other
only
than
So-
that,
let's
I'd pretty much I'd say older cars just because I mean you really do you start to lose that feeling and you start to lose what it's like to drive a car. Yeah, exactly.
pre
2000.
TDK. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, but let's be real here. You were just talking about wanting that C6 and that C7.
I
Pre
mean,
2000 for
I
the
do
win.
want to
Yeah.
I do want a C6, but you could just as easily take all the nannies out of the C6. You can't really do so much without having to completely tear apart.
And then Zaro back again on about that, box and controller. Actually, the guy who makes it for LZ is from Poland, and he made the first one, so that would make sense why it's probably a little bit more prominent over, in Poland as to opposed over here.
Right. And so and just touching back on this. Speaking of LZ, right? He's got one in his Supra, the same Supra that's for sale because he absolutely hates the gearbox. Um,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely right. That's Aaron Losey was talking about this. He at LZ Supra is for sale. He doesn't like driving it, and so pretty much, a lot of these guys, they're just, the 8HP and the DTC are just a plague for drifting. Is what everybody's talking about. And if you want to build one that's reliable and can handle the horsepower of a pro level car, it's going to cost you 15 plus. So it just, for some, people in the grassroots scene, or drifting on a budget, that swap just doesn't make any sense. It would be like me trying, you taking and putting a dog box in a car that's got 200 horsepower. Like, it's just something that doesn't make sense.
Oh, I could buy like 3 CDO9 built.
Yeah,
Probably
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking upwards of like 15 grand to have one built to handle, 800 to 1200 horsepower.
What's that, Billy?
That's crazy.
Is that Billy Gears? Oh,
I'm not exactly sure.
I mean, if it's gonna handle all of that, it damn well better be.
So you need to be, you need full control to be good drifting. Interesting to hear that about the Supra.
Yeah.
About that Supra, specifically, I guess.
Oh, yeah, right. And that was surprising. Whenever I'm just scrolling through here, right, because I ignored this all day, like I do most days, because it just goes off at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning because people don't sleep. But yeah, I mean, learning that the car that that's a pretty wild car that he built, and it had a lot of attention because of what it was. But for that combination to just not work and be just outrageously expensive to even maintain and to get right is just something that I don't, it takes away from the drivability in my eyes, right? So I don't like, I'm a gated shifter kind of guy, and I probably always will be. I mean, I might not even be a guy that goes to, down the road goes to a sequential. It's, again, my opinion, and just kind of reading what some of the other guys are saying that have been doing this a lot longer than I have.
Mad Zaro at the comment saying it's 4 a.m. here, so damn, he's one of them late night guys, that probably would have been chatting in said chat. I do appreciate you though tuning in, being that it's it's 4 a.m. for you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate the support, appreciate you tuning in and participating, asking questions. Shit, man, it's 4 a.m. Man, I would be sleeping, so
I will definitely be sleeping at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is, what time is it now? It's 9 o'clock. Man, I'm like an hour out from a good bedtime.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you do a lot of hard work every day. So why don't you tell the crowd what it is you actually do?
So I own Hartman Comfort Solutions. We specialize in anything HVAC related, from mini splits you want to hang up in your garage to 1,000-ton chill water systems, hydroponic systems. Literally, if it cools or heats the air, it's what I do.
And you do that in what area?
Houston, actually all of Texas for the most part. We've got projects all over the place. Yeah, we've got Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. We've got some stuff coming up, just all over the place. And we actually, over the next, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Over the next 3 to 5 years, if for some reason I don't sell it, I plan to expand into neighboring states, like Oklahoma, Louisiana, places like that. And that's what we plan to do.
So if you are listening and happen to be in the Texas area, Hartman, look them up. How can they find you?
anything you can think of. Google's the big one, right? Everybody Googles. I think I've actually got some good reviews on Yelp.
Okay.
Um, all social media platforms except for TikTok. I haven't
Okay.
got there yet,
You got to
and
get
I'm
on
about
TikTok,
to.
bro.
I've
If you're
got
in the
to,
Texas
man. I'm just
area,
not a.
Yeah,
look
you
them
got to
up.
do like those dealerships and make some off the wall, introduction posts, selling your product.
I've got to be careful because my give a damn and my political correctness just doesn't add up. And so I've got to be really, really careful and walk that really fine line doing video content to promote my business. Because
I don't believe so. Not at least not anybody on the podcast at least today. Is from Oregon. So
Nah.
I'm not really sure what members or if we do have members. I'm sure we do. Especially out of the Discord community. Just at about the 96,000 mark. So we are widespread all over the world, all over the states.
that's awesome.
But
And then all over the NZ
all
as
over the
well,
globe.
because I mean,
So,
those.
Brandon, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you
Um, I work for a company called Expel. If you haven't heard of them, they're a paint protection film manufacturer. They're one of the leading manufacturers of paint protection film, otherwise known as Clear Brawl, which is just a clear polyurethane film that you can put on your car to protect the paint. And so yeah, I install that on cars all day long. I get to work on a lot of cool exotics, Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I just did 2 Lamborghini Uruses today. We've had probably, I think, 3 or 4. I can't remember the name. I'm sorry. I'm not good with the supercars that much, but 3 or 4 other Lambos, a few Ferraris like Porsche Spiders and GT3 RSs. I remember those because they got a big sticker on the side. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the exotic cars personally. I just get to work around them and put film on them all day long, so that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
are
I've
you
been doing it for
still
about
are you still
4
doing
years
your
now.
business?
Yes, I'm still running my detail business on the side. So I did start a detail business at the beginning of the year called Revive Auto Detailing, based out of Houston, Texas. And I do that on the side a little bit now, mostly on weekends, like I said, because Expel is the mainstream of income. But once I get enough of a rapport built up with the business name, and I can get more clientele coming in with Revive, then I'll maybe step away from Expel at some point and go full time owner
So
operator.
once again, if somebody's in that area and was looking for some detailing, how can they reach out to you? Might as well, shout it out.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all over the place with my SimCave socials and my Revive socials.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Check out, either of the socials. Get in touch with them if you're looking for some detailing, or if you're just looking for some fucking cool people to hang out with and say what up to. Feel free to at least reach out in the AEO Discord and say hello.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we are kind of coming towards the end of our podcast here. We generally host these. We do host these every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard. Eastern Standard generally runs for about 2 hours. I appreciate you guys coming on, SimCave Media and Daniel. I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing, some of your experiences and thoughts and tips, opinions, what have you with us here and as well as with the community.
Absolutely.
Reminded all you
Yeah,
guys this is
absolutely.
interactive as it has been, as you guys have seen. Feel free to always get in on the chats with us. Make sure to follow, whether you're following over at the AEO Twitch or you're following over here at the Real D Skids Twitch. Make sure you're following so you can stay tuned for the podcasts. We should have, guys rotating through as guests and whatnot, and you will see some of these guests return, as well as, tonight we had the potential to have Kevin back on. It just kind of didn't work out tonight, so hopefully we'll get him back on and we can return with questioning him and whatnot. Just a
Get some
another
updates
fast
on
reminder that
projects
you
and
guys
such.
can support the stream by visiting the Patreon, patreon.com/dskids. Every little bit of help does quite a bit for us. Allows us to keep this going. Also, make sure you go and check out the AEO Discord, discord.gg/AEO boys, AEO boys with a Z, and we'll get that thrown up in the chat for you guys there. As well as to make sure to head over if you are needing some energy, that is, check out Sliding Sauce over at swiftenergy.gg. Hit the creator tab section. You'll find the sliding sauce with the flavor created by yours truly. Make sure to use coupon code DSKIDS at checkout and save yourself 25% off. Yeah, make sure to go ahead and head over to the Patreon, MB's Patreon, if you're looking for some coaching assistance when it comes to drifting in the virtual land, as well as you can take that, as you've heard from numerous drivers here, and take that experience you learned from him and translate that over, possibly into IRL at a later point. So,
It's definitely doable, definitely possible, guys.
100%.
100%.
So once again, appreciate you all for tuning in. We are going to check ourselves out. Have a good night. Tune in for the next one on Monday. And with that, it's D-Skids and everybody else, we are signing out. We'll leave you guys with the car pack head.
All right.
This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. DJ Spillis, sweet beat, the realest team on the billis. Watch out, I kill it, watch out, I spit it on the mic, feel it. Y'all can't do what I do, just admit it. I'm about to get it, money, get it, drop it to the floor. Shake my big bitties, bopping like did it. My face look pretty, y'all ain't doing shit new, I done did it. Cause I'm marvelous, fantabulous, a bad chick, the flow sick like oh shit. You know this, I'm too fit to ever quit. Knocking these fools out like pool sticks. I do this, I move this, I prove this. Bars be hard like a pound of bricks and go up, jumps the boogie to the bang bang high. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. This the kind of beat to go rat-ta-ta, rat-ta-ta. It's Missy E and DJ Skrillex, yeah. This shit so hot you need it, yeah. Rev up your passion with AEO, the ultimate Assetto Corsa community. Calling all automotive enthusiasts and racing aficionados, join us, the exhilarating world at AEO Discord, your premier hub for everything Assetto Corsa. Connect with like-minded individuals who share your love for cars, tracks, and the thrill of the race. Participate in thrilling races, leagues, and challenges organized by our dedicated team. Discuss setups, mods, and tips to enhance your driving skills and performance, and enjoy a welcoming and supportive environment where everyone is passionate about racing. Benefit from the knowledge and experience of seasoned drivers and simulation enthusiasts. We're committed to evolving and growing our community to meet the needs of all racing fans. For more details and updates, visit aeoboys.com. And join us today at our Discord at discord.gg/AEO and unleash your passion for driving an Assetto Corsa. Whether you're a seasoned driver or just starting out, AEO welcomes you to join our dynamic community. Rev your engines and accelerate into the world of virtual driving.
Hey everyone, MB Drifts here. Join me on Patreon to elevate your drifting skills with 3 levels of drift school, personalized Assetto Corsa support, and flexible 30-minute anything goes sessions. Your support helps maintain our event servers, which we really need. Head over to patreon.com/MB_drifts and choose your tier. Let's hit the virtual track together.
In need of focus and energy? Try Sliding Sauce at swiftenergy.gg. Make sure to use coupon code DSKIDS at checkout and save yourself 25% off the entire store.